Hi there, it's David John, the Resourceful Coach, and going to do a video today. I had a sort of request for this from a few people, which is a plugged lie in a bunker and how we should play it. And what we're going to do is go through the basic technique, understand what to do with that shot. We're going to play it from two different bunkers. Okay, one initially here, we've only got a small area of green to work with and how the ball will react. And then we're going to play one we've got a little bit more green to play with and how that would react on that shot. So really important to sort of a little bit understand the shot itself and how we can use the equipment to get the results we want. And I think the first thing I'm going to talk a little bit about is the quality of sand that you're playing at, okay? We're here in April in the UK. Overnight we had quite a bit of rain. So this sand is quite heavy today, okay? And the big thing I always say with golf is if your ball is plugged in the lie in the sand, there must be enough sand in the bunker for you to then hit down and get to the bottom of that ball to get a result. If there was no sand in the bunker, the ball would have skipped and would have sat on top of the sand. So that's the first thing I want you to look at. If your ball is plugged, realize there must be plenty of sand around your ball for you to be able to hit into the sand and get the result that we want. The second thing I want you to look at is that whenever you play any golf shot where you can't get clean entry into the back of the ball, basically the grooves on your golf club now don't work. So it's very, very difficult when you've got a plugged lie to get lots of backspin on the shot. The only way this ball can come out soft out of this lie, if I happen to hit down and for some reason it pops up and then the trajectory of it lands softly. But in general, when you play a bunker shot, the likelihood is a plugged bunker shot, you're more likely to get a sensation that when you come into that sand, what's going to happen is it's going to come out with no real spin on it. If anything, you might have a little bit of top spin on it and the ball might run. So that's the reason I'm looking at two bunker shots today. One with very little green to work with and one with plenty of green. One is far easier than the other, and if you've listened to what I've already said, you'll know which one that is. But let's go through the basic technique, okay? We can see from the picture we've taken, the ball is sitting down into the sand. And again, this is all for you learning purposes. I'm just going to use my finger. I'm going to push into the sand, and I can push my finger quite a distance in there, at least, just happen to have another ball in my pocket, at least the width of another ball, if not a little bit more. So that's a positive in some respects because now I can hit into the sand knowing full well the club isn't going to bounce and thin the ball into the face of the bunker or over the other side. And I would say 90% of the time when you get a plug lie, that's going to be the case. Now, again, depending on how fluffy your sand is, you may go in there and the sand is really fluffy. And there's two ways you can play a bunker shot. You could play it, if there's loads of sand in the bunker, conventionally where what I would call, you would slightly open the club face, hit firmly into the sand, and that will come out. And I know a player who I sort of admired a lot when I was younger, a guy called Fred Couples, that's how he would play his bunker shots. But I think for truthfulness of the quality of sand that we probably play in, the way I'm going to tell you will give you a little bit more consistent success. Okay, but try both. That's the key thing. Now, first thing I want to do, whenever I play a bunker shot, and definitely in this case, I don't want to hit the ball. I want to hit the sand behind the ball, and that's going to keep the club then, the momentum going through the sand, and that's what's going to explode the ball out of the bunker. And in this case, I definitely want to do that. So where I put my finger into the sand was roughly about a ball width behind. So I'm going to draw a line there just to show you that, into that position. And that's mentally where I want to enter the sand. That's what I'm looking to do when I play the shot. And what I'm going to do now when I set up to the ball is I'm going to feel as if then that point of entry is in the center of my stance. And then to help me get even lower, I'm going to dig my feet into the sand. And if you've watched any of my bunker lessons before, you'll see how we'll do this. And the reason why you dig your feet in the sand is really for three reasons. The first reason most people think is just to give you grip. That's probably the least important. Number two, it gives you an idea how much sand is in the bunker. Well, we know there's plenty because the ball is plugged. And three, the most important reason, can lower your arc. So again, makes it easier for you to get lower on the arc of the swing to get underneath the golf ball. Okay, so I want to hit the sand there, so I put that forward, in the center. So that looks like the ball is slightly forward in my stance. Now here's the key thing you need to do with your club. You can do one of two things, okay? Either keep it square, or if it's really like this, heavy sand, what I do is I close the face slightly. Now why do I do that? Well, that changes the club. Let's come a little bit closer to the camera. Normally on a bunker shot, I'll open the club and I want as thin amount of edge as possible to slide underneath the ball. And then those grooves could grip the ball and give me result. What I want to do now, if I close it down, I've got much more energy here hitting into the sand, and that's going to help to get that digging edge down into the sand, but that amount of face is going to propel that sand behind the ball and get the ball out of the bunker. And that's the first priority. Okay, again, if you've looked at my 12 shots of golf bunker shots, if you are an 18 handicap golfer, even if it's a good lie, get this ball on the green and you're doing a good job. Okay, and that's really important to understand. From this lie, anywhere on the green, I would say for a single figure golfer, you're doing great. Okay, because there's a little bit of the unknown of what's going to happen here. You've just got to go and hit a few, get a feel for it and see what you get as a result. But the most important thing then is once I've closed that face down, I close it down, then I take my grip, is I want to make sure that when I hit into the sand, I hit firmly into the sand. I don't want to sort of stop on it. I want to keep the club going into the sand. Because you're going deeper and deeper in the sand, it will feel like your club will slow up, but you've got to feel there's force there to get that ball out of the bunker. And it's a little bit now instinctive. Don't go in there and thrash it like you're hitting a driver. We're only looking at a shot here that's going to hit the ball 20 feet to be right next to the flag. But I'll be quite happy to be 10 feet out of the bunker to 30 foot out of the bunker. I'll be quite happy with that. Anything here that gives me a chance of a putt, I'm going to take it. So I've closed the face down. I've got that point of impact where I want to go into the sand in the center of my stance. You can see I've got quite a square stance. I'm not opening my stance up because, again, I'm not slicing across it to get backspin. I'm just hitting into the sand. Where the ball's going to go is where I enter the sand, because I'm not going to hit the ball. It's where the sand goes is the direction the ball's going to go. Now, just to also make sure I hit down on it, I'm just going to put a little bit of weight on my left side. And that just feels now that the angle of attack is more down. I don't want to come up. If I come up, I'm probably going to top it. I'm still going to be in the bunker. So if I hit down, it's going to get me to the bottom of the ball. If I keep it there, keep the weight there, 3/4 swing, hit, down, out comes the ball. And the ball there is run across. So we're going to look at that now and see how we can do that from a bunker shot where we've got a lot more green to work with, and how physically then it doesn't become such a tough shot, because if you know the ball's going to run and you've got lots of green, it'll work for you. So here's our second plug lie. As you can see, a lot more green to work with, so it becomes a much easier shot. I've videoed it more from this angle so you sort of get the idea of where we had the ball position before, but you'll also see my alignment here on this shot, that I'm not going to have a really open stance playing the shot. Always for me, bunker shots are controlled very much by where the sand is going. And definitely in this shot where you can't really get a lot of control on the face of the club, you're getting that feeling of getting a solid strike into the sand. And we want that close face now to get the ball moving forwards and rolling up towards our target. So, same rules. I'm not going to draw the lines in this time because you won't see them. But I'm thinking about around about a ball width behind, thinking of that in the middle of my stance. I'm going to dig my feet in. That lowers the arc. Remember, again, I repeat these things because I want you to remember them, okay? So it lowers the arc of the swing, gives me some grip, but also gives me feel for the sand. But I know there's plenty of sand because, look, the ball is plugged. Okay, you can see that from the picture we're now showing you. From there, just close the face down. Nice 3/4 swing. And if it does what we expect, it should come out with very little spin on it, should run up the green. Okay, and that one's landed a little bit, so I'm still going to be within probably 15 feet, but it just came out a little bit softer. Okay, but I'm happy with that. I'm comfortably out of the bunker. I've given myself a chance, and that's the important thing, because a lot of the time you get into these lies straight away, you can see golfers' faces go, oh, look at the lie I've just got. But actually, the important thing to understand, if you've got the understanding of how to play the shot, especially when you've got plenty of green like this to work with, it isn't that hard a shot. It's just understanding what to do. So let's do a little recap. Let's go through what I call my safety factors to play this shot. If the ball is plugged, we know there's plenty of sand in the bunker. And you can confirm that when you address the ball to get a feel for the sand when you dig your feet in to lower the arc. That will just confirm there's plenty of sand in the bunker. Because of that now, we can't slide underneath the ball easily. We're going to have to hit into the sand behind it. And that's going to give us some sort of element of topspin on the ball, so we get less control on the shot as we go through it. And we'll see, as you saw from the first shot, how it looked like a nice shot, but it ran across the other side of the green. But that's just the conditions that we were in. So to help me do that, my setup is so important. I've got my stance in a position where my safety factors are I'm going to hit the sand about a ball width behind. I've lowered myself into the sand. with that point of entry in the center of my sand, center of my stance. From there, I'm just going to close the face down, and that gives you that digging edge going into sand. It makes it easy to start going underneath the golf ball and give you that chance. But the key thing, remember, you're not going to get backspin on this shot. The ball's going to come out with an element of topspin, and it's going to run across the green. So on this shot, it was much easier, plenty of green to work with. The other shot you saw, played it quite nicely, but it then ran itself across the other side of the green. I hope you've enjoyed that shot. The weather now just changing on me, just starting to rain. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed that shot, showing you how to play a plug lie and giving you 2 different scenarios there. But again, a lot of it is dictated by the sand that you're in. If you have enjoyed it, please subscribe to my channel, press that little bell for notifications, and share it with your friends. And I look forward to seeing you soon.